Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
Yeah, it has been a huge break, and I apologize for that. There's been a lot in our life. If you are friends with us, like, personally on Facebook and stuff, some of you know that my mom passed away. It'll last week, the week before last. It'll be 2 weeks on Friday. And she battled Parkinson's for a long time, so there's a lot of stuff that goes into that loss of a family member. So we have been busy. Jason's been fine. I'm the one that's been busy and basically unreachable, but we are back with an episode today. We've got another episode topic queued up. I am boldly committing to trying to put out once a week podcast again.
We'll see. We'll say 2 weeks. How about that? 2 weeks.
It is also difficult because it's football season, and that means we can't record on Monday nights or Sunday nights or Thursday nights.
We can. We just don't want to.
Well, I guess we could, but then I'll be like sitting here. I'm in the room with the TV, and I'll have it on mute, and I'll be watching the game because I am dedicated to my 2 fantasy teams this year because I want to win. I mean, I always want to win, but
what a nerd!
Oh, get off it. You're in more than one fantasy league as well. You're just okay with losing.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm okay with losing. That is true.
But this is kind of like a mixed bag today of a couple episode ideas that have taken too long or kind of short. So buckle up, everybody. That's all I can say. I'm going to start with news, though. The great news is we have an awesome correspondent in the field, the dear fan zero, Mike, who sends me stuff without fail, even when I'm sure he knows that I will not be getting a podcast together. So he always brings really awesome games. He'll post on some of our social media of games that seem awesome and I've never heard of in my life, which for me is not surprising. But if Jason hasn't heard of it, that's really surprising. So the first one that he sent me is on Gamefound. That's right. We check other places besides Kickstarter. Watch out. And the game is called Tameri. Tameri. I want to say Tameri. It is actually in Old Egyptian for the beloved land. So this is an Egyptian themed game. And I was kind of drawn to it. And I knew Jason would be drawn to it because it has a gimmick of basically a pyramid dice tower in the middle of the game, which I think is pretty cool. So you are in ancient Egypt. You are working the Nile Valley. You're constructing buildings. You're getting priests and temples. You're building sphinxes. I mean, you're doing all this great stuff that one would think you would do while administering in Egypt. What the pyramid does is you actually put marbles in there, and they're different colored marbles, and the different colors determine the weather. So that and they like flow out of this pyramid into like some different sectors of the board that'll kind of determine the crops, the farming output of each field. Because I think some of the marbles indicate there's rain, some are sun, some are like fertile soil, those kind of things, which I think is a really fun little bit of randomization. But that part happens before you even choose to take your actions. What kind of actions can you do, you ask? Well, you are placing workers. You are also choosing simultaneously. Everyone will choose action cards to kind of lay on your player board. And then these action cards have actions on them, but they also have like these glyphs on them that you can match between cards that will allow you to fight if you can do that. Almost like in what's the terrible ape game that I hate now?
After Us.
After Us. Come Come at me in the comments about that, by the way. Like how you're matching symbols. If you match symbols, then you get like extra actions that you can do. So that's really kind of cool as well. So you're doing that. You're drafting. You're playing your action card with everybody else. Then you're taking those actions. You're putting workers out. So there's worker placement involved because you're doing some farming. Again, what happens for farming is based on how the weather marbles come out. You can send workers to be trained, like they can be trained as priests, and they're climbing up like a track into some temples. Then you have like these cool little sphinxes that you can put out on cards that will give you like effects based on the actions that are out there. Then you can also use the resources that you've gathered to build buildings that will give you like powers or end of season points, things like that. And it promises to be 30 minutes per player. I am intrigued by this. I think because there's some simultaneous play, that's what happens. The components are very cool. Like I said, you've got sphinxes, you've got marbles, you got Egyptian workers. They look awesome. Of course, there are some upgraded components compared to the original components. It even has like a whole companion historical booklet. So if you are super into, they consulted a professor of Egyptology. If you are like down for that, then I think this is a game for you. But other than that, there's lots of stuff even going on. So Tameri on Gamefound, there are 13 days left on that Kickstarter by the time this drops, and the base game is $65.
Yeah, so all I care about is the cool marble thing. This could be no game at all, but the marble thing is amazing. I love gimmicks. Like half the old games that we have on the top of our shelves have gimmicks, and that makes a game, in my opinion, 100% better just having that gimmick in there that you can play. But the game does look cool. I looked it up a little bit while you're talking. It seems like a fun game, and the gimmick is an added bonus. The deluxe is a little pricey. You're looking at $100 €100. So that's like $110 for us, I think. 105, 106. Yeah, it's a little bit a lot, but yeah, the game looks good.
Well, with the deluxe, you get an expansion, which I think looks really cool because it adds like asymmetric player powers. It adds, which include like some tracks. It adds different marbles. Like there's a famine or a sandstorm or extra fertile soil, which I think that would be probably worth that extra because it seems like it would add to the game quite a bit. But yeah, it's cool. Check it out. My second piece of news, my last piece of news, is back on the old Kickstarter. And I actually saw this game advertised on Facebook, which when it does that, I'm automatically like, well, they don't need my help. But I was intrigued because the artwork is so cute. And that game is called Emberleaf. So Emberleaf, it looks like a super cozy game. It's 1 to 5 players. They call it a card dancing and tile placement game. Now, to me, the card dancing is like they made it up. It's just tableau building and then the tableau can shift. Okay. But so it's like this, because you're doing some engine building with those cards. The components, the artwork, adorable. This is from Frank West, who did Isle of Cats, I believe. His first game was City of Kings, which I don't know, but I have heard of Isle of Cats. And if I've heard of a game, it must be, popular at some point in common thinking. So there's this forest. Apparently, I don't know, there was some bad dude that ruled it, but he's destroyed. But now because he's gone, the forest kind of got destroyed, and these adorable little emberlings are going to come back, and they're going to rebuild their homes. And so you pick a character and you get like a little deck of characters that you can play out on your tableau. They have different abilities. They have some attack because as you're rebuilding the forest, there's some like baddies in the forest that you need to clear out so that you can build some good things there. You've got some dudes that are they're all like forest creatures. So like mice and toads and squirrels. Some of them let you gather resources. Some of them let you convert resources. Some of them are builders. And then like they go with your own personal stats in those different types of areas that they can work in. And so the stronger you have a stat, like the more like powerful these creatures' powers can be. And then you can also move them around. And so when you place them in different parts, by placing them, sometimes you're covering up things that you can do, get bonuses, and then the cards can slide. And that there's some sliding bonuses when they slide, and they slide in certain ways. And then if they like slide off the board, they have slide skills that allow you to do different things. Or and if they drop off the board, there's a drop off skill that can activate. So using your cards, like I think that's really cool in the way that you're like thinking about who needs to go where to get the things done that you want to do. Keeping your stats high, keeping that board full. You also can recruit new animals to your posse. I don't know what you call it. That have different skills, so you can kind of upgrade those things. And you're using them to place these tiles out on the board. Buildings, fellowship buildings, those kind of things. To kind of, you're basically settling the forest again. And so you have to clean out baddies and put these things out there to gain points for those things. It's so stinky cute. I love the coziness of it. There's like, they have so many different things in the Kickstarter, like ways to like get new hero packs, which, they're heroes. That's what they're called. The heroes that you're going to use on your board. They even have like a holiday seasoned one. So there's like a snowman and a little witchy poo and like a bunny and an Easter egg. It's like super, I mean, the adorableness of this is off the charts. So if you like, that kind of tableau building, some nice card management there, cute artwork, I would totally check out Emberleaf. This is on Kickstarter. There are 14 days left on the Kickstarter. There's a lot of different levels of pledges for this. So there's like a basic version that's $60. But then there's a retail version, which is $67. And I think you get like a certain hero pack with it. Let me double check that because I thought that was real crazy. Because if you get the game, it's like legit just the game. Oh yeah, the retail edition, you get the game and you get like one extra hero pack, starter deck F or something. And it's like $67. But then you can go up from there. Like there's a Kickstarter edition, which is about $99, and you get the game, one hero pack, some trophies and bonuses expansion, the seasonal pack, another hero pack, a bag of upgrades. They've got cool upgraded components, and they got a deluxe edition after that. They got add-ons. I mean, there's lots of cool stuff in here. It looks like a super cute game. So that is Emberleaf.
Yeah, it sounds like, I looked at some pictures and it looks like a mixture of like Everdell mixed with like a kids table board game or something. That's the vibe that I get looking at it.
Yeah, because I was trying to think like in laying the cards, it's like Everdell, but then also there's like stats and things that you use those cards to take the other actions. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, this would be a fun one. I think the first one sounds cooler, but this one definitely does seem like it could be good.
And it's so cute, right?
It is cute. The art's adorable. The art reminds me of like some other artist, like the Root guy or whatever, whoever that artist is. I don't know. It has a similar vibe. Yeah, I think his name's Kyle Farron. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. Well, those are my pieces of news for this episode.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of an interesting part. We are going to be mixing games played with our thoughts on GenCon, of which I have a few that you can probably guess what they are. So I'll just talk about the first game we played, and then we'll try to put those other GenCon pieces in there. I don't know how we're going to do it. We'll figure it out. you think after all this time we'd have it together, but nope. Back to what you're used to. So the first game, and we did buy all these games at GenCon as well, so that's kind of why we're doing the GenCon thing.
Yes.
So the first game we're going to talk about is, I think you played this one, right?
No. Maybe?
The fish game with the dice is Lure. I thought we played it.
Yes, I did. I did play this.
Okay. So this is Lure. This game is from All Play. And Lure, I can't say the word that well. Lure. Like a fishing lure, not like you're luring somebody to you, but a fishing lure, which I guess is the same thing. But what this is a little card game and a dice game where you are rolling different kinds of dice. There's 6, there's 10, there's 12, and there's a 20, I think, and a 4 if you're playing the expansion, 4-siders. And you're trying to basically roll dice to get certain combinations of values to catch these fish. The trick here is it's like an auction or a bidding game where you're going to be bidding with the number of dice you want to roll, and whoever bids the fewest dice gets to roll first and has first opportunity to catch fish, which is a pretty cool concept. So you're just trying to play dice, catch fish, but if you use your special dice, the ones that are higher than a 6, you have to let them rest for a round. So you won't have it available to be able to try to catch a fish next time. And some fish can only be caught with certain types of dice, maybe a special die, similar values. And then you have these little lure tokens that you can use that will give you maybe a 4 die, or it can double the points of your fish because each of the fish have a point value. And if you're playing with the expansion, there's also some trophies, and some of the fish are going to be like prize fish. If you have the most trophies at the end of the game, you score points. If you have the least, you lose some points. So a little bit of bidding, a little bit of push your luck, I guess, and just a simple little set collection game. So, how did you feel about Lure?
It was okay. Like, for me, the theme does nothing because I don't like fishing at all.
I mean, the theme could literally be anything.
That's true.
It could be anything.
But I wish it was something else. Then maybe I'd be interested more in it. It was fine. I think it is interesting, like choosing which dice you're going to do and the amount of dice that you're going to use on your turn dictates turn order. It was okay. I would play it again. It's a little, I think, too light for me and not long enough to really get into it. I don't know. I think there are other dice games I would rather play than this one, but it was not bad. I would not say I don't have negative feelings towards it.
I would agree. I think the game it's not my favorite dice game, but Rory did like it, and it's one that she can play. It's pretty simple to explain, and anybody can play it. So I like that about it. We did get this at Gen Con. The booth was insane. So I'm going to tie some Gen Con thoughts. Getting to where you check out was nuts because there were just people everywhere. One of my big complaints is you basically, if you want to get some room to yourself, you got to basically go to the bathroom, lock yourself in a stall because there are people everywhere on top of other people and just not my jam. So trying to pick up these games was a challenge just because the crowds were insane. And this booth is really weird because it has games on every side. You just go grab it, and then you got to make your way to the checkout spot, which is kind of crazy, but yeah. So didn't love the crowds.
Yeah, I mean, it was very busy. My issue is with the crowds at Gen Con was not necessarily getting to where you needed to buy things. I was fine with that. I don't think this was the booth that had the biggest problem with that. And my issue with the crowds is that there are too many non-self-aware people in the board game hobby who will just stop in the middle of a very crowded aisle, will talk on their phone or look at their phone and not pay attention that they're holding up traffic, will wear a game backpack that takes up the space of 5 people.
I was going to say, what about the gaming backpack?
Oh my gosh, the gaming backpacks. Also, I'm not a small person. I get that. I take up space. And certain parts of me stick out further than others. And if I get hit by another board game backpack in one of those parts, it will be too soon. There was a lot of that.
And that's not the backpack thing's not a Gen Con issue. That's everywhere. But because the crowd was so big at Gen Con, it felt more like a problem.
Well, because my thing is, be self-aware. If you're like, hey, I brought these games to play, okay, you need to set them down at a table, or you need to leave that bag in your car until you're going to go and play at a table somewhere, like in a gaming hall. But to carry around your portable version of a U-Haul when it is 70,000 people, that is just rude, in my opinion. That's rude. You're not thinking about other people. Yes, I had a backpack. It was a regular standard issue book bag. And then if I got games, they went into a bag that I carried and kept in front of myself out of the way. And if I got too many bags, I wouldn't put them in the car so that I wasn't hitting people with my stuff. Because I am self-aware.
Yeah.
That was my issue with the crowd. I don't care if there are a lot of people there. I'm just like, keep your crap to yourself, or acknowledge that you need to minimize your crap so you don't, like, I don't even say inconvenience others, but potentially hurt others, and it's just inconsiderate.
Yep, I agree with all that. So yeah, enough grumbling. We'll come back to some positives in a little bit. But yeah, we got some grumbles out. So the next game we played, we also got at Gen Con from the 25th Century booth. And we tried to pick it up at Origins, but I waffled like I do, and we didn't get it. And the game is called Agueda. And this is a game about building a street with these cool, like, colored umbrellas above the top. It's based on, like, a real street in Portugal, or a whole city that does this. I'm not sure. There's theme in the book. Check it out and read it. But effectively what the game is it is a drafting game where you're drafting these different color umbrellas. I think there's six colors. And you are basically placing them into one of the three rows on your street. And you're trying to get certain colors in certain rows to score points. The trick here is, as you score those rows, the scoring conditions are going to move to different rows, which may not be set up to score that way. So you're trying to balance, when you're going to activate the colors, where you're going to put these colors, and trying to get as many points as you can from that. You're also trying to get certain colors over these little, like, paint swatches that are on the road, which are going to help you paint this mural that's on the side of your board. The more pieces of those you can paint, and if you paint two in a row, you're going to get an extra tourist that'll come in to help you score those points that I talked about earlier. There's some in-game goals as well, but at its heart, it's draft some umbrellas, place them on your board, score some points, try to be better than everybody else. I've actually played this solo, and I really like the solo game. I might like the solo game a little bit better than multiplayer. The components are fantastic. The coins are metal. And this is just a regular edition. They only made the one. So that's why we have the deluxe version, because it's the only one that exists. But yeah, it's a solid game. I enjoy it. It's really good solo. I don't really love it multiplayer, but solo I enjoy quite a bit. So how do you feel about Agueda?
I love that they only had the deluxe, so then I didn't have to fight with you about getting the deluxe. And the components are awesome. So that's one thing for it. I also think that this game is simple. Like, when I think about how to play it, I'm like, it's easy. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's easy to paint the mural and stuff. But to win is not easy, because you really have to think ahead. You really have to pay attention to the in-game goals, because you are going to need those points. Everybody could pretty much almost fill their board. But if you're not scoring, you're not making the most of your tourists and scoring the points for the patterns on your streets, and then also thinking about what's going to happen at the end of the game, like, you are not going to win. And I think playing this more times makes you better and better at it, because you are thinking about different things. Sometimes the umbrellas don't come out in the way that you want them to. So I like that it's really easy, I think, to teach people, and people are going to be like, ooh, look at these components, and want to play it. And it is not difficult to play. It is not difficult to learn. It is difficult to win. And so for that reason, I do like it. It's not like, again, I'm not like, oh yeah, this is my number one game of all time. No, but I do really enjoy this game.
Yeah, I like it as well. And I don't care that it's not heavy or any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know. After playing the solo version where I basically just get to play all the time and I don't have to wait for anybody else, I really enjoy that because I don't know. It sat better with me that way than it did at the multiplayer.
Well, I think also this game, because of those in-game goals and those things, it can definitely cause people to have AP and then their turns take forever and you're like, pick 2 dang umbrellas and move on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's no need to have AP on this. It's just a game. Move on.
Oh my gosh.
So, speaking of that, we'll talk about a positive we had at GenCon. So we did get to see some of our friends.
We did.
Yeah, amidst the crowds, getting hit in the face with backpacks, we did get to see some of our friends.
I did not say face.
Well,
I did not say face.
Yeah, that's true. You did not. But we saw Mike, Spencer, and Tim from the Board Game Rundown. We only really saw Tim, but we talked to Tim, but I saw the other two at the distance. And we saw our buddy and his wife that we used to game with all the time, Chris and Amy. And it was, or no, did we see? Yeah, Amy was there, right? Yes.
Yes.
But felt like I saw Chris more because Amy was off doing things. So we got to see them a little bit and hang out, and that was a good time. So amidst all the crowds, we did get to see some familiar faces, and that was fun.
We also saw, oh my gosh, he's going to be so mad that I forgot. I'm blanking on his name because I get everybody mixed up.
Brian,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. 9 to 6 games on Instagram. His name's Brian. He found Katie, I guess, and said, hey. I think he said hi to me, too, I believe.
Yeah, you weren't. His son
I was talking to somebody else or something.
And you mean mugged. Well, then right when we found Brian, Tim came up too. And we found Tim. So
oh
my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. That's true.
And Brian, I didn't even know that you had your own podcast or channel or whatever because I'm real good at this. But it was so good to see you and and your son was there, and I mean I see some stuff on Facebook sometimes, but it was nice to meet you in person. We had a real life sighting, and that was very exciting for me. And Brian gave me the biggest hug. My ribs are still recovering from it. It was just the most wonderful, adorable thing, and he is so great. And I was so glad to run into someone that I've only seen online, in real life, IRL. It was so great, and he is such a sweetheart. So yeah, it was so great to see him.
I didn't mean to forget him. Since it's been so long, that's how my memory goes. So it's nothing personal there. I just slipped my mind.
Yeah, but yes, it was great to see friends. That's my favorite part. I wish we had been able to sit and play games with friends, but it was not in the cards this time.
I agree. That was my favorite part of Origins, was just hanging out with Richard and just playing some games and with Mike and
I think
Bob
that Gen Con's probably not the place for that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you go there to buy the new hotness. That's what it's all about.
Which is why I don't know if this is a spoiler alert. I don't feel like I need to go all that often anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Origins is just where it's my hangout. That's where I'll go. All right, so one last game we're going to talk about. We actually picked this up at Gen Con as well, and we got this one kind of for our youngest daughter because I've been trying to play a bunch of games with her online, doing live plays. She's really enjoying that and having people watch her and talk to her and, compliment her, like she does. And this game is called Icing on the Cake, and it is from, I forget the company. I should have looked that up. I had it on my mind, and now I forgot it.
Is it a little French company?
I don't know. I don't even know where the game is, so I can't.
I'll check it out. I got it. Give me a second.
But effectively, what you're doing in this game is you are building a cake. And it's an I split you choose game. So there's going to be a group of tiles out in the middle, and you're going to split them into 4 groups. And then every player gets to take a group of those. And if you're playing with less than, I think, 3 or less, you're going to have a little dummy player, and it's going to take one of the colors in the split, because the split is broken down into colors. And then you get to take the colors and you're going to place them on your cake board. And they're going to be vanilla, chocolate, lemon, and strawberry cake. You're trying to get certain pieces on the outside that have icing to score you points. You're trying to get a big section of the same kind of cake together to score extra points. Then after everybody's got their cake, you're going to do a little scoring round to get some points. Then you're going to put icing on the cake, same flavors, and you're trying to match the same color icing with the same color cake. If you can do that, you're going to get this little token. And if you get one of every kind of token, you get a candle on the cake, which is going to give you bonus points. And again, you're going to score similar ways, and you're just trying to make the best cake, score the most points, and it is a ton of fun, actually. And I really enjoy this game. It's simple, but the I split you choose is kind of tricky. Where you want to place the pieces is a little trickier than it seems because you get stuck with some crap that you don't really want. But yeah, this is a really good game. Never heard of it before. Didn't know the booth, didn't know the company, but it was a good find and I enjoyed it. So you can go ahead and talk about what you think and if you found who did it.
It's from a company called Foxmind.
Oh yeah, Foxmind. That's right. I was trying to figure that out while I was talking.
And it just came out this year, so it is new. I happened to see it, and I was like, I think we should stop and look at this. Every once in a while, my instinct has gotten us a couple duds. But generally, I'm good with vibes. And this game was like, yeah, it's a good vibe. And it is. Yes, it is easy as far as like, I think it does say maybe 8 and up or something on the box. But the decisions are super tricky on this because you also have corner pieces that you're trying to put in there. There's like this particular types of like sprinkle icing and stuff that you can put on. It reminds me a little bit of the Great British Bake Off game that we played with Nicole.
Oh yeah, that was a fun game too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually think maybe this one is done better. But the IP on the other one is what people are interested in.
Well,
but
it's not real time, so that's automatically better in my opinion.
Well, that's true. Also, it is not real time, and I think that is a benefit to it. But this is a game like yes, you can play it with your kids, but we also played it with my mother-in-law, and she really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure as well. Like I just think it was a hit all around.
It's just a fun game. It's a cool theme. Everybody loves cake, or likes looking at cake or whatever. Just a fun theme. It looks nice. The candles are cool on top. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just fun. I don't love I Split You Choose. That's the only thing that I don't really like about it, but I like everything else. So
I don't necessarily I don't know that I love I Split You Choose, but to me in this instance, it's just kind of like a different way of a draft.
Yeah, because if you're first, you can take the tiles that you want, kind of. Yeah, you get that little bonus there.
Because you don't control the tiles that come out. You just control how they're split up into the different groups. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
It did not bother me in this game.
No, I like it. It's just not normally a mechanism that I love. We don't have a ton of games that do that, but I really do like this one. If you haven't heard of it, we have a live play that you can check it out. It's super fun. Anybody can play this game, and I recommend it. So there you go.
And cake.
All right, so those are the games that we played, and a short GenCon recap. Let's move on.
Okay. Since we were kind of discussing GenCon and how we felt about it, and really, I think we mentioned our almost final thoughts on that. Like, yeah, it's fun, and there's lots of new stuff there, but it's hard to find a moat to yourself. It's hard to find a place to play a game. It's hard to even sit down and demo a game because there's so many people. We love Origins probably the most. So. But we want to talk about, because we have been to many cons, we've been to Origins for many years now. That was our second Gen Con. We were at PAX Unplugged one year. I have been to, not Gamma. Why can't I remember the name of it?
Where did you, no, it was some war thing.
Yes, it's like, well, it's not all war games, but it is more like that in no, gosh,
it was a convention of people who, if a woman walked into a room, they would get scowled at. That kind of convention.
And I did on more than one occasion. Nova.
There you go.
I was it's 4 letters. I've been to Nova also, and yes, I I was like, "Ooh, let's look at this cool scenery that people have painted for this game." And it's like as one, everyone turned and looked at me and we're like, "Who are you?" And it was real weird.
It's like board games are like the Reddit of board games. You can't go in there and feel clean.
But because of all those, like our different con experiences, we have purchased more in the later years games at cons. So we thought we'd give a quick top 3 of our favorite games that we have purchased at a con.
Oh, hey, look, you're first on this one.
I know, that's weird.
That is weird.
I mean, I guess I'll go first. My first game I want to talk about, I actually just saw on Facebook that they have made it into a Barnes and Noble. I think it's more than one Barnes and Noble, but the fact you can go into Barnes and Nobles and get this game, because this was a very small company, at least I thought it was. I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It's just those 2 dudes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the game is Finest Fish. This is by Last Night Games. Am I right?
That's correct.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did it. Okay, I was like, don't screw it up because they're really nice dudes and I really like their stuff. We bought Panda Royale this year from them, which also is super fun. I'm sure Jason has a video on that.
Yeah, and a live one as well. Multiple.
But Finest Fish, I love the look of it. I like the gameplay. You have a fish board that is yours, and they're really beautiful goldfish. And throughout the game, you are going to draft scales to put on your fish to score points for the patterns of the scales, for the grouping of the scales,
and
for
color.
like using the wild scales. Yeah, but the grouping of the scales is by color.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
I know what I'm about. I even got the company name right. All right.
You did. Good job.
But I did just see that Finest Fish is available in Barnes & Noble. So if you have not played this game, I would recommend it. It is very tactile, aesthetically pleasing. So it's really easy, I think, to get non-gamers into it. And it honestly, it's not that difficult to play and teach because you're just, taking scales, drafting scales when it's your turn and putting them on your fish.
And building patterns. Yeah, that's what you're doing, really.
Right. And so a lot of people can build patterns. They understand that. But then the strategy, comes along as you're playing it. So it's a great game. And I was so glad. We kind of went out on a limb. I had not heard of this company before. Again, very small, just 2 brothers at the booth. And I was like, what is up with that fish? That fish game looks awesome. And it was a great purchase. So my first favorite game purchased at a con, Finest Fish.
Yeah, so some honorable mentions from this company, Horticulture and also Panda Royale, also fantastic games.
Yes.
So the first one I'm going to mention is one that we just picked up at GenCon, and it's a little card game, but I really like it. And it's based on the game Hearts. It's from Bezier, and it's called Rebel Princess. And this is a trick-taking game where you're basically taking the rules of Hearts, which if you've never played Hearts, you don't want to collect hearts because they're negative points, or they're positive points, and you want to have the lowest score at the end of the game. But if you collect all the hearts, you get like negative 20 points or something, so to help you. So this is like that, but except the heart group, you're trying to be princesses who are staying away from princes because you don't want to get married. That's the theme. So all the princes are positive points, and then there's this weird frog in the green group that is worth 5 points. So you're just playing a normal trick-taking game, but every round there's going to be a funky event that happens that's going to switch up like how you can play your cards, or maybe some suits will be worth positive points and some will be worth negative. A whole bunch of random stuff that can happen that's going to affect the pretty simple rules of the game. And everyone's going to have a player power that they can use to also flip it on its head a little bit. So familiar, but different enough that it keeps it interesting, and I really enjoy it. Those events are crazy. They make it really difficult to try to not score points with those events. But yeah, this is a fantastic game. I don't even know if it's officially out yet. So sorry, but this is about games we've purchased at a con, so I wanted to mention it. So my first one is Rebel Princess.
Yeah, this is one that when we were working on our preview episode, I saw and was like, yeah, that's going to be awesome. We love a good trick taker. They're easy to play with our game group. They're easy for us to teach to people. And this one did not disappoint. It is super, super fun. I can't wait to bring that one out again, probably at Nerdapalooza BGM Con.
I gotta find it. I don't know where it is.
Oh, great. I'm sure I know where it is. We've been having upheaval also in the board game room because we're like this. I've always said this is the year of house preparation. Next year is the year of house selling. And so part of the house preparation is who is going to buy a house when they see a room that is floor to ceiling full of board games.
Who isn't? That's the proper question. Who isn't?
Well, they can't get the board games. We want to keep it a secret.
Well, that's true.
So in order to keep them secret, keep them safe, we have been putting some of them in an indoor climate-controlled storage facility because we are those people.
And we're not savages. Come on.
Right. So it might have gotten lost in the shuffle there. My second one is an OG. This game we stumbled upon at Origins.
Was this our first ever Origins that we got this?
No. Our first ever Origins, we bought another game I really like called Holmes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This might have been the second one.
I believe this is the second one. I sat down just to play it because they're like, hey, do you want to demo this game? I'm like, yeah, sure. It had really cool Japanese art. And I ended up like completely eviscerating the person who's demonstrating the game. And I was like, this game is awesome. I love deck building. And it's Tanto Cuore. Despite being having some NSFW artwork at times, the gameplay on this, as far as a deck builder, is really excellent. It has not gotten out in recent years. And also, I'm mad about the fact that they had Memento Mori at GenCon, and I still don't have my Kickstarter edition.
You're not the only one that's mad, and they heard about it on Kickstarter from me. But we did play this with Tim like last year, I think. So it's been fairly recent. Right,
and it definitely holds up. I think it would get played more if I wasn't like, all right, let's bring out the game with all the boobs, or whatever, the Slutty Maid game, because the artwork, and also the text is so tiny and the artwork is on all the cards. I'm like, I just need to see what this maid does. But I have to stare at the card.
Yeah, you look like a perv when you're playing the game. You really
get
do.
My reading glasses out because the text is so tiny. But the synergy between the different cards is so great on this game. That's what's really brought me back to it. They have lots of different ones. There's, I don't know, maybe 5 of them now with the Memento Mori.
6.
6? Okay.
Yep.
Well, expanding the house really isn't.
Well, that's true. There's 4 different versions, and then expanding the house, which is just doesn't do anything new, and then Memento Mori, so 5.5.
Yeah. So, and each one, like, you can play standalone, but each one has this like a new mechanic that you can work with. Like sometimes it's beer stands, sometimes it's sending people on dates.
The beer stand's so cool.
I forget what vacation spots that just add to it, so you can mix and match those, and you have different elements, or you can but the deck building I think is really like prime on this game. And so I was so glad that like started this whole Japanime spiral. And so my number 2 favorite game purchased at a con is Tanto Cuore.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, it's Dominion-esque if you've played Dominion. If you've never played Tanto, it's like Dominion. Similar. The next one I'm going to talk about, I actually bought from Simon. It's a Cranio game, but they had it at Origins at the Simon booth because for a while they were partnering together. And it is Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Now, this was, I don't know if this is my first taste of the Italians. Maybe. It's up there. It's one of the earlier games of the Italians that we had. And man, is this game so good. If you haven't played it, it's like a dice placement game kind of, but everybody's using the same dice. There's 3 colors and they get rolled. Everybody has a little pillar that represents each of those 3 dice with the value, and you're going to send it to these towers to recruit cards to basically like build engines. You're going to try to collect these little assistants. You're trying to get money. You're trying to move up on this like Catholic Church track because the Pope is going to strike and slap you around if you don't do enough stuff. Tzolkin was before this, so they were the Italians. I
thought we had Grand Austria Hotel before this too.
Oh yeah, you might be right. But anyway, this is an early Italians game. How about that? And I love it. It's so good. We have the expansion. We haven't played it yet, but we do have it in the box. Adds an extra tower. We didn't get that at the con, but I can't wait to get this game out again and play it. I played it on Board Game Arena a few times, and so good. Love the game. Glad I snacked it up. Simon, get back into the partnership with Cranio. Get some more stuff rolling, and I will give you money. So, my next game, Lorenzo il Magnifico.
You won't give them money if they only have a deluxe edition. You get cranky about it.
Well, that's true. That's Eagle Griffin. Eagle Griffin doesn't get my money.
I wish they would.
You've seen Lorenzo. You know there's nothing deluxe about that game.
I also do really love Lorenzo. And I was thinking maybe we could see if my cousins would play it.
Oh, yeah. They can probably... Yeah, it's not super difficult.
Because I feel like there's a lot of, like, really specific goals in it. And that's what works well sometimes to get them into a game.
Yeah, that's true.
To get all of them into the game as opposed to just one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do really like Lorenzo. It's one of those games, like I always say, that I can play the game my way and have just as much of a chance of doing well as you do playing it a completely different way. And I think that's a sign of a really successful game. My last one that I want to talk about is a game that I begged and begged and begged and begged Jason to get. I begged him to back, and it just never happened. And then this was GenCon.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh yeah, you're right. Because we played it at Origins with Spencer and them, or you did? No, we did.
We did.
Yeah, and it was
I did.
It was painfully long for you. I didn't play it.
It was.
And then you said it was really good, and then we snagged it up at GenCon. That's right.
Because I was at the booth, and the designer was at the booth. I talked to him several times because it was just down from the Board Game Rundowns booth, Paverson. And they knew me by name eventually, which I thought was hilarious. And I'm like, I have got to buy this game. And that game is Distilled.
He was trying to close a sale.
People like me, Jason.
He probably told you looked young too, right?
Oh my gosh, shut up. I do look young. Look here. I'm putting out auditions for a new host, possibly a new husband. More details to come. The game is Distilled. And the game is so great. Like, there are a lot of things to keep track of on Distilled, but those are the kind of games I really like. So you have this distillery that you were given as like a family inheritance, and it's not profiting very well, but you are going to make it profit. You're going to make your signature recipe. You're going to go into that world of spirits and take it by storm. And so this game is about doing that, about getting recipes, collecting the ingredients you need, and brewing the game. It has this really great thematic mechanic where once you get all the ingredient cards together to make a particular recipe, you're going to take out the top card and the first and the last card, much as you discard the initial brew in a spirits and the dregs that are left that you can save for another time. Like it, you are working on your plant. You're getting bottles that are collecting and fancy, and you're making whiskeys from around the world. Like, and there's such replayability. Like, I mean, I've barely touched all of the recipe cards that are in there. It's just new and different every time. I so enjoy this game. And I cannot wait to get my hands on the next Paverson game, to be honest.
Yeah, Distilled's good. It's a good purchase. I know. You had a strong army and all that stuff. I got it.
I was right. I want to hear you say it.
You were accurate. Yes.
Excuse me.
You were right. Yes, you were right.
Okay.
All right, so I kind of spoiled my number one on accident because I wasn't paying attention. But I think like the first Origins or an early Origins when we were just building our collection, I snagged Tzolkin from CGE, and I'll tell you honestly, I grabbed it because it has a gimmick in it. And if you ever heard of Origins, I can't talk. If you've ever heard of Tzolkin, it's got these cool gears that you turn around. You put a worker on them, and the gears spin, and then the workers age, helping you get to different locations to take better actions. So I saw that, and I thought I had to try this game. This may be. I want to stop saying that. This is an Italians game as well, but it's really good. I had to pick it up because it looked fantastic, and it is fantastic. Crystal Skulls, so good. Kind of anticlimactic number one because, I mean, it's Tzolkin, and it's not new, it's not hot, but I like it. So my number, I guess the last one, I didn't really give them numbers. My last one, Tzolkin, the Mayan calendar.
We never said they were new hotness. We're just saying they're our favorite games that we have purchased at a con.
Well, I guess that's true, but most people think if you're going to get a game at a con, it's going to be the new hotness, like Lorcana or whatever the new hotness was this year.
We never play those games. They know better.
Rock Hard was a hot game. Joke's on them, though. I had it first.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so anyway, those are some of our favorite games we purchased at a con, not just GenCon.
No. Yeah, we also got like all of the champions of Midgard.
Correct. Yep. The mat.
Yeah, we got Juicy Fruits, which we play a lot there. Bargain Quest is another game that I felt really good about at a con, and
that was PAX.
Yeah, and I was like, we gotta get this game, and I really like it, even though I had some negative reviews. I had one really bad experience playing it, and has colored all my interactions with it, and it makes me really sad because the game I think is very good and fun.
Was that Brandon?
No.
Oh, okay, because Brandon had some. He doesn't really love it either. I think it's just because he didn't know how to play it. That's probably the issue.
He didn't help. It was Joel.
Once I said it was Brandon, you didn't have to say. I knew who it was at that point.
Joel and Matt together.
Oh yeah, his brother. Oh yeah, that's funny. I forgot he played. Good times.
Or didn't, and that's kind of why it was awful.
Yeah.
Okay, but I would love to know what games you have purchased at a con. You're like, yes, this is a good game, because sometimes, like it doesn't happen very often because I have Jason to walk around with me and say, no, we won't get anything. I'm a miser. Sometimes people, I think, get crazy and they're like, oh my gosh, what, we're going to miss out. And it's only here at the con. So I got to buy this. And, oh, this was on the hotness. I'm going to buy that. And like, you buy all this stuff and you're like, well, this game sucks. And this game sucks. And this game sucks. And then you're like, man, I wasted all this money at the con. But sometimes you get the gem. So I want to know about the gems that you found at a con, and at what con. And also, I keep thinking that maybe Jason and I have to expand and visit some other cons. I know there are plenty that we have not been to that are very good. Even some small ones that are pretty close. I keep thinking one of these years we're going to get it up to Canada to go to a con with Melanie.
Melanie puts on like a con like every weekend.
It seems like it.
It does. It feels like it. I feel like every time I look at her page, she's putting on some kind of con.
Girl, Canada is hopping with board game cons. What is going on up there in the Great White North?
Hey, I'm jealous. I rag on Canada all the time, but that makes me jealous.
I mean, hockey season is over, right? So
that's true. They got nothing else to do up there.
So it's just board game cons now, I guess.
Tim Hortons and board games. That's it.
That sounds like a great time. Don't threaten me with Timbits and a board game. Anyway, we've derailed. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. I appreciate those of you that have still been active on our socials, listening to the podcast, talking about us to other people, even when I'm absent and my life gets in the way. I really love doing the podcast, mostly because I love the people that I've met and get to talk to because of it. So thank you so much. And do we give like a sneak preview of what's coming up next?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Jason tells me that it is just about time to start the top 100.
That is correct. That is correct. My favorite time of the year. Talking about games, our favorite games.
I know. And I was just thinking, gosh, I feel like every year I'm like, oh, my top 100, it's always the same. But I feel like this year we have really kind of branched out and played some new games, some new kinds of games. We've played, I think, in general with a lot more frequency. Pulled out some old games. So it might be a little bit of a shakeup this year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, part of it is the game group has shifted to a lighter game group too, so that could bring in some different types of stuff too, which could be exciting.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys again for bearing with me while I was dealing with the death and arrangements for my mother, and for watching Jason's videos because he is so good at keeping our channel going.
I do what I can.
Anything else?
Nope.
You do.
And I'll probably try to do some more videos with Rory if you are into that. She really likes that, so stay tuned. We'll try to get one up this week at some point.
Maybe, but she needs to focus on her homework.
That's true. If she can get her homework done, because that is more important than doing a video.
All right. Well, I've been Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.